Hey everyone, LL here. Before I get started in today's episode, if you guys find this podcast valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you left a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this podcast. That helps me reach and help more handmade sellers, more business owners, more small business owners, so that they could pursue their dreams and passions and alleviate some of the frustrations and just make their journey a little bit easier. I'd really appreciate that. If you're listening elsewhere, please give it a like and a share. That would be totally awesome. I have a really good episode for you today. I'm talking all about the new changes with the Star Seller Badge. Like it or hate it, it's coming. I'm going to talk through that, maybe give you another spin on it. Make sure you know what's going on. Make sure that you have the right mindset and how I look at change and how I look at things that are constantly evolving, to make sure that I have the right mindset and I am approaching it the right way, because I am a problem solver. I am an entrepreneur, and that is what we have to do at the end of the day. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast, the place to be to get tips, strategies, tactics, motivation to grow your handmade business through Etsy or wherever you guys want to grow your business. There's lots of platforms out there to grow, so you always got to keep your options open. I know I specifically talk a lot about Etsy, and I'm going to continue to do that with this episode for you guys. I'm going to talk about a hot topic right now. This is something that may or may not get me in trouble. You guys always know how it is. There's always naysayers, there's the trolls, but it is what it is. I'm going to talk about it anyways because it's something that you guys need to know about and something that could benefit you. And you may already know what I'm going to say, but the topic is the new Etsy Star Seller Badge. So it's something that they are rolling out starting September 1. So they actually rolled it out now to give you a chance to improve the metrics that they're going to look at to give sellers a Star Seller Badge. And this is a badge that they're going to put beside your shop name, just identifying you as a star seller if you meet the 3 metrics that they identify as important to reach the Star Seller status. So they rolled out the dashboard now. You guys, I'm sure, have probably seen it in your Etsy shop manager, where you can go and check the metrics, and it has all the criteria in there to qualify, but you can start chipping away at those metrics and improving them. So hopefully you can get the Star Seller Badge starting in September. So you can't get it right now, but it's something that you can, starting then, if you meet the metrics, you should probably start seeing it in your shop at the beginning of September. At least that's what Etsy is saying. So before I dive into the specifics of the metrics, I want to set the tone here, right? And what I want to tell you guys is there's no crying in baseball. Have you guys seen A League of Their Own with Tom Hanks, where he yells, "There's no crying in baseball," when some of the players get upset and start crying? So that's what I'm going to tell you guys, because a lot of people are crying at baseball right now because of the changes, because of they think that this is going to impact them negatively. They think that it's not going to be a positive thing. So there's a lot of complaining online, a lot of people freaking out, a lot of people upset, a lot of people PO'd, whatever other adjectives that you guys want to say. With any new change, this always happens. There's always a rise up, a fury of anger, of Etsy's terrible, I hate Etsy, I'm going to leave it, all this stuff. Because people, there's just a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of misunderstandings. They don't know how it's going to impact them. So usually the first thing they do when you don't know something, or you don't understand something, is to be angry at it, be upset at it. The way I look at this, and this is something that you're never going to get out of me, I'm never going to complain. I may say that I disagree with something, but being an entrepreneur is about being a problem solver at the end of the day. If you're a real entrepreneur, you're going to have to deal with problems, and you can't get upset or angry at every little problem that comes up. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to grow your business. You're going to live upset all the time. It's going to affect your mindset. It's going to affect your health. So I look at this as a problem that needs solving. And by that, I mean, you can't control everything, but focus on what you can control. How can you make this work for you? And there's, the longer you're in business, the more problems that you're going to encounter. It just makes you stronger. It makes you pivot. Sometimes you have to do things that you don't necessarily like or agree with. But at the end of the day, it will make you a better business owner. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to be a lot more knowledgeable, and you're going to be prepared for the stuff that comes in the future. So I refuse to look at it negatively. I look at it as a problem that needs solving, and I suggest that's how you look at your business and the things that come up, because it will help your mindset and your positivity going forward down the road. So I have a little story for you, kind of related to this. Back when I did my corporate job, I was in the corporate world for 20 years before I stepped away from that to do Etsy full time. And I was in the same corporate world for the same corporate job specifically for 11 years. And I had a really good boss. We got along really well. I had a lot of freedom. We had a really good rapport. I could do pretty much within reason whatever I wanted. I could manage how I wanted to manage. I was a director of a couple of divisions, so I could really run that how I wanted to run it, make decisions. I wasn't micromanaged, and I really enjoyed the relationship that we had. And after a couple of years, there was her counterpart was in another department, and I heard not so great things. I didn't have a rapport with her. I just, I didn't think that she, I didn't have a good experience with her previously, but I really didn't have any experience at all. It was a lot of preconceived notions, and I didn't think that she was as good as my boss, obviously. So after a couple of years, my boss actually got transferred, and guess what? Her counterpart became my boss, and I was really upset. I was stressed out. I was not excited to go to work because I didn't know what to expect. There was a ton of uncertainty. I didn't have a relationship with this person, and my preconceived notions were negative, towards her, and that kind of bled out and created the stress, the anger of why this could happen, the uncertainty, and all that kind of played into my mindset, affected my work-life balance. I had to bring it home. I was stressed out. So all that came to fruition, and it was kind of a nightmare when it happened. Then once I got over the initial shock, the initial being upset, the stress, all that stuff, I let it settle in. And then I got to know, my new boss better. I got to know her routine and what she liked, dislikes. I got to build a rapport. I really took the time to start doing that instead of being, standoffish and just angry and been like, whatever, throwing my hands up in the air and acting like, I couldn't do anything about the change. I decided to take control of the change and focus on what I could control and, build a rapport and got to know the person better, her managing style. And that really helped ease my mind because the uncertain became the certain. I got to know her better. I knew the expectations. I knew it was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. I made a mountain out of a molehill, and I got to know her pretty well. And we actually had a really good relationship. She was also a really good boss. I had a good experience. I worked with her for a couple of years before I, quote unquote, retired from the corporate world. But this was just another experience, another thing that I took it as a negative. I took it. It affected my emotions. It affected my mindset because I let it do that without even knowing what to expect, without even having the experience. You have these preconceived notions and you automatically, a change, and maybe a change that you think is going to be bad, you always come at it negatively with anger a lot of times. So give it a chance, let it settle in, let it see how it's going to work, and go from there. Don't approach it negatively because that will impact your mindset and you going forward without even knowing the expectations. So that's what I would, that's the lessons. I've had many of those lessons over the course of my life. So I would encourage you guys to kind of shift your mindset on any changes that's going to come, because if you're in this business long enough, this is just one of the many, many changes that's going to keep happening. There's an evolution. Things will never remain the same. That's the one true constant in life. There will always be changes. All right, so let's dive in and go over these changes, the Etsy seller badge specifically, so that you guys have a better understanding of what's happening now and what's to come. All right, so when you guys log into your dashboard, they will have a star seller option, and you click into it and you'll kind of see your metrics. So this is my metrics. I got a couple things I need to work on, and even me being in business as long as I have on Etsy, I still have some problem areas, but I'm gonna go through these. I'm really close. My biggest thing is the on-time shipping. You know, if you click into this, you'll see I shipped out 35 orders late, which is causing that. So make sure you're shipping out stuff within your processing times. I went out of town for a couple of days, and that was my fault for not getting the products out. So I'm confident that I can get this up by September 1st, and that's why they rolled this out now. So wherever you're at, you can hopefully increase the metrics by September 1st so that you're starting off with a star seller badge. So you can see the three metrics here. Message response rate is number one. So they want to make sure that you're responding with a message in a timely manner to people that are reaching out to you. You need to respond in under 24 hours for those people. Now, it doesn't include, well, so if you get spam, right, then a lot of times you will get spam messages, people reaching out. Make sure you're marking that as spam, and then those aren't counted in the message response rate. So make sure you're doing that. Also, if a lot of times a good best practice, if someone reaches out to you, you answer their question, but you want to keep the messages unread, so it reminds you to do the thing, which I do all the time. That doesn't reset it. It doesn't count against you. So as long as you initially respond, you can mark that message then as unread, as like kind of like a reminder to go back and do whatever you need to do. Usually, like if people reach out and they want an order rushed or they want to make an address change, I will respond to them, tell them that's fine, and then mark the message as unread. So it reminds me to go back in and make that change or do the thing. So that's kind of the two main things there. So just make sure you're responding in a timely fashion. So you can see here, it breaks down messages that got a reply after 24 hours versus messages that did get a reply. So just make sure you're responding as quick as possible. I would also recommend having the Sell on Etsy app, where you can set up a push notification for people to forward. It'll basically forward it to your phone if someone sends you a message, so it prompts you to respond right away or relatively fast. This is just good business. So make sure you guys are doing that. The next big one is 5-star ratings. Of course, reviews are everything in really any business nowadays. So you need to make sure you're getting those 5 stars. Based on what you can control, the biggest complaint with this is like shipping delays and things like that, where customers will leave you a bad review because they didn't get their item in time. Reach back out to them, see if you can provide somewhat of a solution, maybe give them some type of credit back, some type of refund, maybe let them know what's going on, that it wasn't your fault, that it was USPS. But this is something that you can control at least a little bit with providing shipping items out fast, or at least putting them in the mailbox fast. Providing good service, providing a good product. So for the most part, you can't control, but people always jump to, I can't control the delays with the post office. That's going to be a very, very small percentage. You're not going to have all your orders delayed. I ship out hundreds and hundreds of orders. Only a very, very small percentage of those orders ever get delayed or lost. And then from there, only a very, very small percentage of those people will leave a bad review. And then from there, if you reach back out to them and provide a solution, a lot of times they'll change your review. So I'm not sure if this will still count if they change your review, like if they give you like a 2-star and then you reach out and fix it and they give you a 4 or 5. I think it will update to that and average out, but I'm not positive, but it should, in my opinion, because it only makes sense if that's what this is looking at. So keep those things in mind. The next thing is on-time shipping and tracking, like I already mentioned. So make sure that you are providing, you're basically shipping your items out within the processing time that you have set. So if it's 1 to 3 days, you better be shipping that item out within 1 to 3 days, meaning that you have to purchase the label or put in the tracking information and mark the order as complete in order for it to count. So if you buy the label through Etsy, it automatically does that for you. If you buy it through another source like Pirate Ship or whatever, you just have to make sure that you get the tracking information and put it into Etsy and mark the order as complete so it counts. It does not count if you mark the order as complete, put it in tracking, and then for whatever reason the post office doesn't deliver in time, or the cases that are out of your control. It basically only counts from the time that you mark the order as complete and put in the tracking information, because that's what you can control. They're not going to penalize you for a delay of the item getting scanned in or a delay in the shipment. Now, like I just talked about, it could affect you on the back end as far as reviews, but a lot of times if you're proactive, you're reaching out before and or after, you can kind of prevent those negative reviews and just provide that excellent customer service. Now, the one knock that people are talking about big time is digital products, where people reach out and they want something custom created. Then you have to put it as a physical product and then mark it as complete, but there's no tracking information because it's a digital product. A lot of times you're emailing that to them because it's a custom order. So that could negatively impact this as far as not providing updated tracking information. So I'm sure Etsy is aware of that. You can also provide the survey. There's usually, when you go to this dashboard, there's a survey pop up. So I would recommend letting them know. It's probably something that's going to be adjusted, I would imagine. But across the board, if you have digital products that aren't being shipped, they shouldn't be counted in this number because there's no tracking number information. They're being delivered digitally right away. So those ones aren't being counted. It's just the ones that are custom. But again, fill out the survey, control, and focus on what you guys can control by filling out that survey and letting them know the problems. Now, the other things to keep in mind, and all these requirements are down here if you scroll it down to this, how do I become a star seller? This is the main one. There's other FAQs on here, but this is the main one to describe everything I just talked about as far as the metrics and what qualifies. The other thing you guys got to keep in mind is you must maintain 10 orders and around $300 in sales on a rolling monthly period, I believe. Or I'm sorry, it's a 3-month period. So if you're not meeting those benchmarks, you're not going to have enough sales and revenue to count as a star seller. So that's another thing that people may not like. And then also, you have to be on Etsy's platform 90 days since your first sale. So they want to make sure that you've been on the platform for 90 days or longer since you got a sale, to make sure that you're able to qualify as a star seller. So most people over time will actually qualify. So those really are the big things as far as the star seller stuff that you guys are going to keep in mind. Start working on impacting these numbers now. Again, you can't change it right now. Etsy may make it better for you, and they probably will if you complete the survey, but focus on what you guys can control. At the end of the day, reviews are king, right? They will still be king. People always look at reviews. People will look at reviews first and foremost over anything else. Doesn't matter what kind of badge. Doesn't matter if you have the greatest seller in the world badge. It's only a badge. They're still going to look at reviews and see what's going on with the customer satisfaction if they like your stuff. So as long as you're focusing on reviews, you're still going to be okay. The other thing, the star seller badge does not impact search. It doesn't impact you in search. So if you get the badge, it's not like you're going to be shown to customers more often than not. You're just going to have the badge. It's like if you have a bestseller, then you get that little badge beside the product, but people are still going into your bestsellers and looking at their reviews. It's not a make or break thing. So this is just another added forward-facing thing that customers can see. The other thing I want to talk about is this is really no different than other platforms. It's forward-facing. A lot of platforms have it kind of behind the scenes. Other big platforms out there do similar things, so Etsy is not that much different. They're just kind of actually a little behind the game with doing something like this. So, if you follow platforms like eBay, they do something similar where they track performance based on shipping times, reviews, cases filed. So you have to keep a certain level. They track your seller performance. You have a whole dashboard. And if you fall below that performance, it can impact you. It can get you kicked out or suspended. But they can also increase fees. They'll also, if you're shipping out stuff late, for whatever category you're in, they can bump you from maybe 3% to 5% to penalize you. So they're taking money. They're actually taking money away from you if you're not doing things in a timely fashion. So keep that in mind. Amazon does something similar. They have a dashboard, a seller dashboard. The only difference is, buyers can't see it, but it's behind the scenes. If you don't ship out stuff in a timely fashion, they want stuff shipped out on time. They have the same benchmark. They want only 5% or less late shipment rate. If you're higher than that, they're going to ding you as far as your seller dashboard. In a lot of ways, they're even more strict as far as like canceled orders, as far as like product default rates, which is canceled orders too. And then tracking information, they are actually more strict. They want valid tracking information for 2.5% or less as far as orders go. So in a lot of ways, these platforms are even more strict than Etsy, but Etsy, people just aren't used to it on Etsy. So obviously with anything new, again, people are not going to like it, especially if they think it's going to negatively impact them. You guys make up your mind. You make your own decision. Make sure you're being proactive with it. Make sure you're reaching out, doing the survey if you don't agree with it. At the end of the day, you can only focus on what you can control. And you can make the decision to be angry about this, or you can make the decision to keep moving forward with your business. Take a different tact. Keep working on the things that will grow your business and not look at it negatively. Because that's really, in my opinion, the only way to look at it. And again, like I said, we are problem solvers at the end of the day. Being entrepreneurs, this isn't going to be the first change. It is definitely not going to be the last change. So hopefully this video helps you guys at least kind of get your head around what's going on. Get prepared now. Start working on getting your metrics up. Continue working on your business. Don't give up. Don't throw your hands up. There's always something that you can do. So I would encourage you to kind of shift the way that you're thinking about this stuff. But if you guys need more resources, help, guidance, support, make sure you're checking out the Handmade and Beyond community. You can check that out at handmadeandbeyond.com. I also have a brand new training if you go there. You can also go to the direct link, handmadeandbeyond.com/Etsy success. Learn how to be a top 1% Etsy seller by learning the 7 habits the top Etsy sales top Etsy shops do to be successful, right? Because emulating the habits of other successful people, listening to, watching, seeing what they're doing will help you also get some of that success. Maintain the level of positivity, also maintain a level of motivation. So snag that free training. But until next time, I'll be back with another awesome video for you guys. Happy selling. Have an awesome rest of your day.